From the BzG studio in the Mission Dolores district, right in the heart of San Francisco, it's BzG News with Barrett Courtney.
Thank you so much all the way up there. Thank you so much all the way down here. And thank you right here. What's up, everybody? My name is Barrett Courtney, and this is BzG News. It is your last resort for all of the nerdy news that you need to know about. And you're probably thinking a question right now, and I'm just going to answer it flat out for you. Yes, my shirt is very purple. I understand that. It was my last clean, nice shirt that I could wear for the show, so I apologize for how crazy purple this is. I feel like I'm Barney or a wannabe Joker wearing this shirt. But enough about my shirts and how purple they are. Let's get into the nerdy news that you guys care about. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, now, before I even get into it, I just want to address the elephant in the room. That is the computer. I left my script at home, and I'm really bummed out about it because I printed it out and it looked all nice and neat, and now it's a waste of paper because I forgot it at home. So I'm just gonna have to read the script off of my computer. So sorry about that. First thing, biggest news this week, and we're just gonna go right into it. I usually tease you guys every once in a while on the show, where I start out with something nice and simple, and I build up to it, and then we climax and get into the biggest news. But today we're just going straight out headfirst into the biggest piece of news. Eurogamer has reported that Nintendo's next console, codename NX, will be a portable one. Looking similar to the Wii U gamepad, you could take this console and play wherever you please. And you can also connect it to a docking station, which will make games available to play on your TV. So I'm guessing, just interjecting here, but in this written piece, that you can take it on the go. There's a picture right here. I'll talk about that picture in a minute. Take it on the go is like sort of the gamepad style thing, and then when you go home, connect it to this docking station, which I imagine charges it at the same time that you can connect it to your TV. And while connected to the TV, it has detachable controllers that you can use instead of carrying this entire device. Apparently, the NX will be taking cartridges rather than discs, and will have a NVIDIA Tegra X1 chip found in other mobile devices. So let's address the cool thing about this. We've predicted and we've talked about and we've had these rumors going around for so long, ever since the NX has left people from Nintendo's mouths, like when they just mentioned it, right? We wanted it to be this really cool integration of a console and a sort of mobile, sort of handheld thing. And I think this is like sort of the best that we're gonna get, and I think it's like a really cool idea. Sort of like if I can just pick this thing up and play like the big Metroid game on my portable device that I'd walk around and play it on the way to work or all of this stuff, and play this really big game, or like the Legend of Zelda game, right? It's huge, and if I could pick this up and just go play it anywhere without having to be tied to home to play it, like that's really, really cool. And then you can, if you want that sort of console experience, you can connect it to your TV and unplug these weird controllers. Now, this is the first concerning thing. Now, I don't imagine that the NX will actually look exactly like how they're showing it in this picture, but the weird detachable from the sides, and they sort of like you're holding two sort of controllers to make up one controller. Like I'm not too sure how that's gonna work out. Maybe you can like connect them together, but then you're holding like this really weird like small controller to play it on your sort of console version of the NX. It's weird. So I'm still wrapping my mind around how they're gonna work that out. Maybe it comes with like an extra controller, hopefully. I'm not too sure, but that's the one concerning thing, is like the controllers that come off of the gamepad that you can use for the console sort of version of it. It looks a little weird and probably feels a little weird if that's what it actually ends up being. Now, the thing about cartridges is, of course, they're not going to be these big, huge Nintendo 64 cartridges, right? They're going to be probably like I almost imagine the size of like a Game Boy cartridge, right? Like sort of that size, and it sort of makes sense because there's a high demand when video games were coming into their own and becoming huge in the '90s and stuff. Cartridges were the things to make games on, and there's a high demand for them, so it became more and more expensive to make games on cartridges. But since we've been making video games on discs for the last like 16 years, or a little more than that as well, it makes sense because the demand for cartridges have gone down, and also apparently with you're doing like flash more in cartridges, and that helps with like loading times and whatnot. So that might help with sort of an immersive experience and not having to wait for crazy load times or anything. So who knows? That might be a smart idea. And then NVIDIA Tegra X1 chip. I forget which devices they were, but it was found in like a Google tablet device and like some Android TV device, which for a small screen, probably about, like, I imagine this big, and then when you port that over to your TV, that might be good enough. Who knows? I'm not getting crazy, like ambitious, like, oh, this is going to look as good as PS4 and Xbox One. So you have that little concern as well, because who knows? It might not look that much better than the Wii U. So a lot of those nerds out there who are like, I want a better looking Zelda game, I'm going to wait for the NX. And it's like, hey, it might not look that much better on the NX than on the Wii U. So there you go. NX, huge leak of the NX this week. Thank you to Eurogamer, where they corroborated a lot of sources and whatnot. So good for them. They're doing God's work, reporting the real news instead of just rehashing it on news shows like this one. Anyway, moving on. You can now sign up for a beta test for PlayStation 4's 4.0 system update. The beta will begin in early August, and you have until then to sign up. If you're accepted in the beta, you can go back to the 3.55 software anytime you want, and nothing has been said yet on what is in the update or when it will launch for everyone. So I think it sort of depends on how well the beta test goes, and they're probably going to look at, like, if people who they bring in for the beta, if they go to 4 and then a lot of people go back to 3.55, like, immediately, they should probably, like, figure out, like, oh, like, why are people doing this? And, it's how betas work. They bring it to a small portion of the focus test sort of group area people, and then they see how well that goes. And if it goes poorly, we'll probably not see it for a while. But if it goes pretty smoothly and is well received by those beta testers, then we might see it probably sometime in the next couple months, you would imagine. If it goes well in August, maybe I would say even like October is probably like a good sort of set date, even if like it goes well. There's probably some kinks that they have to sort of work out. So if you have that beta in August and then give them about a month to work on it. So yeah, late September, early October. I say that's a safe bet right there. I'm excited to, this is 4.0. It's going to be a big update. So, like, what big things are we going to get? Are we finally going to get name changes? Probably not. I don't know. That might be an upcoming topic because we've done that topic before. What do we want in the next PS4 update? We'll probably talk about that on Talking Shit sometime soon. I personally don't know. Because, I'm liking the PS4 right now. I have nothing to complain about, except I don't have many games to play right now. But moving on, something that dropped, this piece of news dropped like right after we recorded BzG News last week. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 are now available on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Executive producer Mike Jones said on the Marvel website that, quote, "We wanted these re-releases to be as faithful to the original Ultimate Alliance games as possible, the definitive versions. However, the team did work really hard on improving performance, some UI and graphic enhancements, as well as making the games compatible with modern platform features on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. They play really smooth," unquote. When asked about a possible follow-up to Ultimate Alliance 2, Jones said that the re-releases could point toward a new beginning for Ultimate Alliance as a franchise. Both games are currently priced at $40, but are also bundled together at $60. So, you save a good $20 there if you decide to buy them together. I played Ultimate Alliance 2. I never played the first one. I really like the second one. We talked about it a little bit on this week's episode of Talking Shit, the topic that went up yesterday about disappointing video games. I love Ultimate Alliance 2, but sort of no, it wasn't yesterday's topic. It was the topic that went up on Tuesday. The topic is called "Does Deadpool Hold Up?" But it's more about like representation of comic book characters and yada yada yada. I really like Ultimate Alliance 2, but I think the ending is really weird and doesn't represent the comic ending really well. So that's like really the only thing I have to say about like badly about the game. But I really like it. The gameplay is fun, really fun to play with like friends if you have like a squad and you have like a perfect team to match up with, and like all of those like sort of crossover like powers and stuff that you can do, or you're Iron Man, you shoot your laser at Captain America's shield and hit all the enemies. It's really cool. It's a really fun game. I've played like 10 minutes of the first one and it's okay. I don't remember it too well. I was playing as Winter Soldier and yada yada yada, but I don't know. I never really got into the first one, but maybe this will be my time to finally check it out. So I suggest you guys check it out because the second one is definitely a really good one. And from what I've heard of the first one, people really like that as well. So really cool. It would have been on our Don't Forget segment last week, but it was literally like a last minute like, hey, this is coming out in a couple of days. And it was really crazy. I'm surprised more people aren't freaking out about it. But anyway, that's out now if you want to go check that out. Now moving on, the co-founder of Epic, Tim Sweeney, has been concerned for some time about the future of Microsoft and its apparent attempt to slowly break Steam. In a recent interview with Edge, Sweeney said he believes that Microsoft will force update Windows 10 that will slowly make Steam less compatible with the software, making the Windows Store a more reliable option. He believes that apps that have lived so long through Win32 might get the boot, and every app will need to be purchased through the Microsoft Store, making PC a closed platform. Sweeney alluded to other instances where Microsoft apparently sabotaged QuickTime and Firefox, nodding to the possibility that this isn't the first time that they have done something like this. Now, this is very interesting. This almost seems like tinfoil hat sort of crazy thing to me, because it's not like anybody is putting updates or freaking out about Steam slowly breaking or anything on their PCs with Windows as their software and whatnot. But I find it very interesting. QuickTime, I've had personal experiences with QuickTime on Windows, and it's not a good experience like whatsoever. I've never really tried out Firefox because it's Google Chrome or nothing. But I think this is going to be. I think he's overblowing this, and if it really is this sort of weird conspiracy that they're slowly trying to break Steam, then it's then people will just if all of the. Here's the thing with Microsoft. If this is their real plan, they're smart because, it's sort of a smart thing to do. It's a messed up thing to do, but, the economy that we live in, the sort of competition that we have in our economy, it's a smart thing to do on Microsoft's part, but they got to be even smarter about it. They got to make sure that if Steam slowly breaks and then Windows Store has to have all of the games available, or most of the big games available that would also be available on Steam, because you got to slowly integrate that, I've never gone onto the Windows Store ever, and so I don't know what the games portion of that store is like. I don't know if it's just Microsoft games, because if it is and they're trying to break Steam, not a lot of people are going to stick around for the Windows Store, right? If it's only Microsoft games. The great thing about Steam is you get almost all of the games except exclusive ones to consoles and whatnot. And that's the cool thing about Steam. So if they break Steam and then the Windows Store is still just Microsoft games or whatever, no one's gonna stay. They're gonna change to they're gonna change to Ubuntu. They're gonna switch to that, and then just play Steam on that. So they just got to be smart. If this is true, they just they're being sneaky. They got to be sneakier, and they got to think about longevity here. So who knows? But again, it really just sounds like tinfoil hat crazy. Like they're trying to break the Steam. All right, co-founder of Epic Games. Anyway, moving on. Some really sad news for Nintendo. Remember that game, Pokemon Go? You may have heard of it. Most downloaded app on the iTunes store and whatnot. That Nintendo totally made by themselves, right? And that's why their stock has been so great recently. Well, you might be surprised to hear, like many investors, that Nintendo didn't actually make Pokemon Go. It was Niantic Games, which is based here in San Francisco, and after some realized what Nintendo's actual involvement was with the game, its shares dropped by 18%. It's the biggest drop in Nintendo shares since 1990, leaving it at just over 20,000 yen in the sort of stock market in Japan, which is still better than where Nintendo was before the game came out, which was 14,000. And Nintendo Pokemon is owned by the Pokemon Company, and Nintendo owns 33% of the Pokemon Company. So Nintendo has like a very, very, very small cut of Pokemon Go, but apparently the little dorky watch, the like Pokemon Go Plus or whatever with the watch or whatever, Nintendo is like making that. They're actually manufacturing that and whatnot. So I think that's why not like everybody has dropped off yet. Like even though they're not bringing in all of the money for Pokemon Go, they're still going to work on this thing that is also probably going to sell decently. So who knows? I just think that's funny that like almost no one who invested their money into Nintendo in like the last month who thought like Pokemon Go was amazing and all that stuff, like no one understood that Nintendo almost had nothing to do with that. So, but hey, congrats to Niantic Games. They made this crazy game that got a lot of people's attention, at least. I would like to hear, and I don't know, I did some research and I couldn't find anything of if some of those investors took their investment out of Nintendo to put it into Niantic or whatnot, or I don't even know if Niantic is a public company or not. So who even knows if that's on the stock market or anything. So, but hey, good job, guys. You may want to go public, maybe not. I don't know. I pretend, and I don't even want to pretend to know anything about stock markets and making your company open to stocks and stuff. That seems really scary. Have you seen The Wolf of Wall Street? It's terrifying. Terrifying movie. Anyway, now this is sort of the last piece of news. It's not really news, but some of you may know we used to have this segment called Netflix and Chill with Ricky Baldazan. And some of you may know, Ricky left us. His last episode on Talking Shit was a couple weeks ago. Or by the time you're watching this, it was last week. And, we had this segment, and, Ricky has died. No, he hasn't died. He has moved on to Sacramento, where he's going to study in school and study in music and whatnot. And we're all really happy for him. So he sadly can't be here anymore for BzG. But that doesn't mean we can't Netflix and chill anymore. So here are the biggest TV shows and movies coming to Netflix in the month of August. But before I get into it, let's have a moment of silence for Ricky Baldazan. If you're drinking a cold one while watching the show, pour it out in remembrance for Ricky Baldazan. All right. The biggest, there's not a lot. There's like little pickings every once in a while in this big list of things coming to Netflix this month. First big movie, Big Daddy with Adam Sandler. One of the few good Adam Sandler movies. One of the last ones that was like decent before, he just started, he did Click, and then he did he do a baseball movie at one point? I think no, he wasn't in Benchwarmers, but he spiraled down pretty fast after Big Daddy and a couple others. So, really good, really cute movie. It's got the two kids, Max and Cody, live in a hotel or what? I don't know. It was a Disney Channel movie, but like those two brothers or whatever both play the same role, like this kid that Adam Sandler sort of adopts in a way. But it's a funny movie, sweet. So if you wanna watch that and sort of get a reminiscence of like the '90s, late '90s, basically, it's a good one to watch. Another one, and I don't know if this movie is on anybody's radar, but it's Pay It Forward, which is an interesting movie. I remember really liking it. A couple years after it came out, I remember my dad and I rented it on DVD, and it's got... Jeez. Sorry, give me a moment here. Things are loading. It's got Kevin Spacey, Helen Hunt, and Haley Joel Osment before he disappeared from the face of the earth. And so, it's about like this whole idea that if you do if you receive kindness from a stranger, you should try to pass that kindness on to 3 different people, and those 3 people would spread it on to like 9 total people, and so on and so forth, sort of spreading this kindness throughout the world. And Haley Joel Osment's character comes up with that idea, and it's sort of like about that phenomenon, and it has it's an interesting movie. Go check it out. I don't know if it's going to be for everyone. I just remember enjoying it. It's just it's a silly, very overdramatic movie. Not actually silly funny or anything. It's very serious and has a lot of serious toned down moments. But I just want to hear back. Watch that movie and then get back to me on whether or not you liked it, because I have no idea the reception on that movie. Anyway, a movie I know that has bad reception is Star Trek Nemesis, which is one of the first movies ever to star Tom... Oh, jeez. Starring... Oh, my God. Come on. Work with me here. Tom Hardy. Remember Tom Hardy is Bane. He does all those movies. Tom Hardy plays a clone of Jean-Luc Picard, and he's sort of like this younger version of Jean-Luc Picard. It's a really weird movie. I remember seeing it with my grandpa. I was way too young to be watching this really boring Star Trek movie. I passed out. Don't remember how it was, but I'll probably be watching that. I'm sort of getting into Next Generation right now. I'm in like season 3, so if you're looking for a Star Trek fix and haven't seen, if you're coming home from beyond and need to watch more Star Trek, go watch that. And then a big one, The Little Prince. I'm excited. You might remember a couple months ago, I was really upset. The Little Prince was taken off. It was about to be released like in theaters. And then, I forget which company owned it. It was like either Universal or someone else. They just canceled the movie a week before it was supposed to come out. And then we heard about a month later, or maybe a little less than a month later, Netflix had bought the rights of The Little Prince for an American release, at least. So I'm really excited because I really love the Little Prince book. Le Petit Prince is the original book from France. And the trailer, oh my God, it's just watching the trailer makes me tear up. So I can't even imagine what this movie is going to do to me. So I'm just going to speculate here. I feel like possibly Netflix bought this from Universal before they even decided to like cancel it and take it away from like a big theatrical release. The reason why they might not have expected a huge return on the movie in the U.S. I think it did semi-well in France. They released it in France like a couple months before it was supposed to release in the U.S. So they might not have expected it to do so well in the U.S. So they might have been telling people like, hey, we're possibly going to release this, but if you want to buy it, it's on the table, basically. So I imagine Netflix was like, hey, we'll take this off your hands because we think it'll do well. At least for our sort of service. So I feel like Netflix probably bought it, and then that's when, it was a week before the movie was supposed to come out, and then they said, hey, it's not coming out. Then a month later, they sort of finalized the deal and could officially say, like, hey, we're Netflix, we bought The Little Prince. So that's coming out August 5th. I'm really, really, really excited. Also, Punk's Dead, CLC Punk 2 is going to be on Netflix this month. This is a follow-up to SLC Punk, which is a movie about these punks who live in Salt Lake City. And it's sort of just like the entire movie is almost like just this non sequitur. It's just got these little stories about this guy named Steve-O, who is played by Matthew Lillard, who you might know as Shaggy in the live action Scooby-Doo movies. And it sort of goes through like his transition from being a punk and then sort of joining the system and being a lawyer and seeing this sort of growing up in his character. Now, from what I understand of SLC Punk 2, SLC Punk 2 follows a side character, Bob, who... I don't want to spoil anything. Watch SLC Punk, the first one. I think it's a good movie. And SLC Punk 2 is supposed to follow Bob's sort of kid. So I have no idea how that movie was received. I remember when it was like huge, like they were kickstarting it, and I was really excited. And then it sort of like had a soft release, and it wasn't released anywhere in the Bay Area. So I'm excited to see. Report back to me. Again, watch this movie, report back to me. Tell me how you like it. And then last two things: No Country for Old Men and Once Upon a Time Season 5 for those people who are into those things. For ya, there you go. That'll come out on Netflix in the month of August. Also, that was all the news that we had for this week. But before we go, one more segment called Don't Forget, where I talk about the upcoming movies, video games, comics, TV shows, sometimes music for you. So you don't forget to check it out. Now, not that much this week. Bad Moms with Mila Kunis and Kristen Bell. It's coming out. It's out today, the day you guys are watching this. But when I'm recording it, it has no score. So that tells you everything you need to know about. And people were not allowed to see this or review it at least before the movie came out. So that tells you it's probably not going to be a good movie. Also, Jason Bourne is out today. It's at currently 57% on Rotten Tomatoes, as you know you would expect with the Jason Bourne movie coming out in 2016. Like, come on, we could have ended that after the third one, but then we had the one with Jeremy Renner. And then we decided to bring Matt Damon back. And what are we doing with this Bourne series? Let's just wrap it up. Just end it. Just end it. We don't need more. Come on. And then the last thing, this movie already came out. And it only had a sort of one-night release. And it's out on DVD now, so you can pick it up. Is The Killing Joke, Batman the Killing Joke animated movie, which is an adaptation of the Killing Joke comic, currently has a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. And the reason this is so divisive is because they bring more to the movie. Because, you know, the comic itself, the Killing Joke comic, is very short. Very good, though. And they add this whole sort of prologue to it where Batgirl is more of a love interest to Batman, which is really weird because throughout all of comics, Batman is sort of a fatherly figure to Batgirl, and it's a weird thing, and apparently it's very, people were calling out to the writers at Comic-Con, like, this is very misogynist and whatnot. So it seems like Batgirl, they were trying to give Batgirl more depth, but they sort of just made her more of a love interest, damsel in distress situation, and that's just not smart writing there. And a lot of people complain about the original Killing Joke, right? Because they make the same complaints of like, oh, Batgirl is sort of just like this damsel in distress, and you know, this woman gets hurt to bring out emotions in a man. And I don't think in the original comic, it's not like a love interest sort of situation. In the comics, Batman is a very fatherly figure to Batgirl, and it's also used to make Gordon insane, and Gordon is Batgirl's father. And so that was used to not be like, oh, hey, this is a woman that I like you, that you hurt, you don't hurt women. It's more of like, hey, you hurt family, and that's sort of, you know, a lot of people complain about that in the original Killing Joke book, and I don't quite agree with them there, but seeing sort of the development of Batgirl's character in the movie version is a little disappointing. I'm not gonna watch it. I like the original Killing Joke. I don't need it ruined for me. So there you go. That's all the things that are coming out or already came out this week. Not many big video games or comic books this week. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been BzG News. I'm sorry I don't have a script. I'm reading off my crazy computer. I'm sorry. I apologize. I left my script at home. But anyway, this is BzG News. It's BzG's weekly show where I bring in all the crazy, messed up, nerdy news for you, and I give my 2 cents on it. Now, if you like that, you know, just, you know, like, leave a little comment. Let's have a discussion, because, you know, I like discussing things about nerdy things and whatnot with you. That's why I do this. I'm just rambling on right now, because I'm very I'm just all over the place today. I'm doing a lot today. I'm sorry. But anyway, remember, BzG News is up every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on youtube.com/BetaZoningGamers and BZGamers.com. Remember to join us next week for some more nerdy news. And until then, stay nerdy. Thank you so much. Thank you all the way up the crowd, all the way up here and down here and right here. Thank you so much.